Welcome to the Empowering Choices podcast. My name is Joshua.
I am Lucas.
And I'm Erik.
Erik and Lucas are licensed professional counselors, and today we're going to be talking about documenting the moment.
I feel like we need to have some kind of like sub-series title for all of this because these are like Erik's research into parents' regrets.
True.
Right? Because this is kind of like more of these.
Right. So parents regretting that they did not take enough photos and videos and just remembering what it was like.
Do you have any idea, like, so was this like an article that you read, Erik?
Yeah, well, there was a couple of different, articles.
Were they I mean, I'm guessing they were more recent-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm just thinking that, like, in 2024, with everyone that's a camera in their pocket, like, is this an ongoing? I mean, is this for a parent who's like maybe in their 50s now and they raised their kids 30 years ago, or I mean, I'm just kind of thinking about like the way the technology
it didn't go into that, but even today, you have people that, even though technology is everywhere, and even though we all have cell phones, I mean, I have a cell phone, but if we opened up my gallery, you're not going to find a lot of pictures of my kid or doing things with my kid.
Okay.
I don't think about it. I'm a professional photographer. I don't think about it. I'm in the activity. I've never been a selfie person. I'm much more, there was an old show in the 70s. It was called Maverick, and it's a Western show. And Maverick was a gambler. And one of the key things about his character is you could never get him in a picture. So when he was in pictures, he was always putting things in his face so that you didn't ever have him in the picture. I'm kind of like that. That's why I became a photographer. So I don't ever have to be in the picture.
Oh, so selfies particularly are not your jam.
They're not my thing, and I don't think about it. Whereas on the other end, there are people who do like all kinds of pictures and selfies and pictures, with their kids and doing things. These are parents that somewhere in the middle, they were just enjoying the experience and didn't think about whether it's, they didn't think to bring a camera because we didn't have cell phones at that time.
Or whatever, 30 years ago.
Yeah. They just didn't think about pulling out the cell phone because they're just engaged in having fun with their kids.
Do we need to do a part 2 for like the people who take too many photos?
Right.
Like, is that a different problem?
I was going to say it's on both ends of the spectrum.
So let's focus on people who don't take enough, and then we'll maybe see.
Right.
Yeah. So one of the things that's fascinating along that lines is I've been capturing a bunch of home movies and stuff that we have, and my parents got their first video camera in 1985. So I was like 4 or 5 years old. So I actually have some video of me pretty young. And one of the things that's interesting as I've now been thinking about capturing my son is the style and the method. And I think there's something to that kind of then goes into why some parents take it too far. But in the old days, a lot of times the camera was so burdensome, you kind of only got it out for special events.
Oh, absolutely.
And then sometimes you would just prop it somewhere and put it. And so we have like these 40-minute videos of Christmas completely
8 millimeter.
It just is what it is, and you can watch it. And so for one,
unedited,
I love watching that, and it's so cool. Number
it's very
two,
slice of life.
Yeah, I realized that a lot of what I was doing was taking very short little things, and also it was like interruptive a little bit. So I actually thought this Christmas I did this. I thought instead of doing
you threw a camera in the corner of the room.
Yep, I'm just going to put a camera somewhere, hit record. And then I can be still in the moment, but that's also an easy way to capture that and have that for my son later. Because as I watch those videos myself, it almost like reinforces things in me that's like, okay, that was cool. That was a fun childhood. It's almost like I'm getting parented all over again just by reliving those memories.
Well, and that's just a really cool kind of tool for the toolbox as an idea of if you want to capture and have the opportunity. Yeah, if you can throw a camera in the corner, turn it on, and forget about it.
Yeah,
that's
a great idea.
I hadn't thought about it.
I hadn't either. When we talk about this, I think about Chevy Chase's National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I love that movie.
That's one of my wife's all-time favorite, and it's on our list every single Christmas. We'll see it a couple of times, honestly. She watches that. We watch that because that's her choice as much as I watch A Christmas Carol because that's my choice. And but I love the scene where he gets locked in the attic and his family leaves. And so he's gotten into the boxes and he's gotten all of this clothing on that's stored up there. and he wants something to do. So he found these 8mm home movies, and he set up a little screen, and he's sitting there watching them, reliving those moments, and there's tears coming down, And so it brings about that whole idea of your what would we say? Documenting the journey.
Saving your progress.
Saving the progress. And so you can go back, because a visual brings about the memories, the feelings, the thoughts.
Right.
As much for the good side of things as it does for the bad side of things.
And imagine if we'll ever be able to record smells and play those back.
Oh, wow. Well, they said when Saving Private Ryan first came out that the only thing, the veterans said, the only thing that was missing was the smell. So I don't know that would be a good thing, but
sure.
It's, I'm sure, something that I know it's something they're working on.
You were just talking about bringing back memories.
Yeah.
The sense of smell kicks you back to memories the most strongly.
Oh, very much so. And as I'm thinking about it, I remember I was setting up a picture because I was going to do some close-up photography of fish on our fish tank. And I had everything set up there, and I had gotten everything going, and my son was, kind of around in there, and he was like, I don't know, 6 or 7, somewhere like that, maybe a little younger. And I went to go take the picture, and there's an eyeball on the other side of the camera.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I want to see what it looked like in here. And I'm like, okay, well, what'd you see? He goes, it's black. Okay, so
he was just looking into the camera.
He was just looking into the lens, the telephoto lens.
What's it look like in here? Nothing.
Right. And so then I went back to take the picture, and I had taken a picture of that. I snapped a picture of him doing that. Well, then I went back to look there, and all of a sudden, the cat had come up and was looking into the lens on the opposite side that he was. So, of course, I take that picture, and I'm like, what's going on? But before I could really say that, he is pushing the cat out of the thing, saying, you can't do that. You can't look on this side. I got a picture of that, too. And so I have this picture of him pushing the cat, and the cat resisting because she wants to look down the lens.
Because somehow she thinks there's something down there.
Well, he saw something.
Oh,
so
exactly
she
right.
to see what that something was too.
Right.
And so that snapshot captures the progress of that moment. And that's something that those parents were talking about, is we didn't take enough pictures as we were raising our children that we can now look back on and really enjoy reliving. And because what you're going to do, it's not just reliving, but you're also going to be processing it through now later in life. Maybe you're processing it through with your kids. And so now you'll have added things to that. What were they thinking? What were they doing? How was that going for them?
Yeah. Well, and even one of my favorite things was there was a time period where for a lot of my life, I've lived away from my family. And so even once I got married, we would fly back home to Arkansas for Christmas. And then one of my favorite things to do was let's get out the old home videos. And then, together we all watched them. And it was fun, not only because I'm watching that with my parents and we're sort of like remembering and all of that, but then even like my wife is then able to learn a little more about me, about seeing like, oh, here's, what his life was like and these memories. And so I love this stuff so much. One of the things we do, I think like the airplay and the mirroring is all like one of the greatest inventions of time. So we go out to the park. I'll take some video and stuff then, and then later that night, I'll actually pull it up and we'll like watch it and talk about how much fun that was. And our son will see himself on the swing giggling, and then he'll start laughing, and it's kind of like we stretch the memory out a little longer. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drop a teaser to our future episode. We're gonna review a Big City Greens cartoon, and the episode's called Photo Op. And it's about the dad wanting to go get a professional picture taken and all of the shenanigans that happen there. So you say stay tuned for that. We'll record that at some point.
And speaking of that, I have seen the fun thing where a lot of families will get dressed and then go to like JC Penney's or whatever to do the formal photos, because they still do that. And so they'll almost do it as like a funny thing.
Sure.
And dress up all in weird clothes, and that's fun.
Well, and that kind of goes with one of our other podcasts about just, being goofy.
Yeah.
Being funny. And then now putting it on film or video so that you have that to be able to then go back to and continue to kind of enjoy the living of those memories.
So what do we tell the parent who, like, there's got to be a balance to taking photos, right? Because it sounds like, Josh, you don't have a deficit of recorded like documentation. So we would want to talk, like in your case, of like, is there the possibility that you're taking too many?
Right.
I'm not saying you are.
Yeah.
But like you were saying,
swing it over to me.
Well, yeah. Oh, sure. That's true. That's
exactly.
true. Yeah. You were saying you don't have an enormous amount.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find photos that have me in it is going to be really, really tough.
Well, and that's kind of an interesting question, is like, because the prompt here is taking enough photos and videos.
Right.
And the kind of question, I suppose, is of who? Because you just implied, well, I don't have many of me, right? And so, like, who, I guess, should be in family photos, right?
Well, and that's how you kind of have to look at it within your system. These parents regretted not having enough photos of their kids growing up.
Of their kids.
Yes,
of their kids.
Of their kids.
Right. And I think that's the assumed kind of answer there, yeah.
But that's where some of the motivation comes into play, because I know there are some people, our parents, who I would say are more distracted about worrying about how can I get the perfect photo op to get a picture of me at the park with my kid to post on Instagram so that everyone sees what fun I'm having.
That's the too much problem.
Yeah.
Maybe the point is just cut out the Instagram.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
we'll have a whole series on that.
Right.
Stay tuned.
Right.
And just make it photos that will go in the photo tech library, whatever that looks like.
Yeah. For your personal use.
Yeah, that Josh knows all.
Print them off and put them on your bookshelf. That's right.
That's where I'm still at, you know. But you have those pieces that are in there, and then you can work with that.
Well, there was a person who suggested, and again, this is kind of more for the technology kind of aspect, but there was someone who said, don't post photos online. And there was and they were literally like, no, as a blanket statement, just don't do it, because just like, what's the benefit, right? You're showing, or if you're going to share photos with people you want to share photos with, email them, right? So that they're not like this publicly available. And I think their point was just like, keep your family like your family rather than like broadcasting it and like making it a part of the internet. But again, that's kind of a future discussion.
And I can hear my tech savvy or social media savvy people saying, as I've said those things too, don't you know there's privacy controls? No, I really don't.
But again, a future, But, if you're going to take photos, where are you going to put them? But again, different podcast.
Yeah, and I will say one of the cool things that we did for our grandparents, and not my grandparents, but our son's grandparents, we bought everyone a digital photo frame for Christmas, because they live off in California. My dad only lives a street over, but we got him one too. But what's cool
but
is
I mean, even
we
if they
can take photos and then upload them into their photo frames.
Oh, because the photo frame's digitally connected to the internet?
So it's
you can say, here, Grandpa, boop, here's a new one, and it's in their living room.
Yep. So we may go to the park, take a few photos.
Really neat.
My wife will put it in there, and then literally then an hour later in California on their dresser,
there it
our
is.
trip to the park. Yeah. So that's one thing that we do that's kind of fun to help a family that's spread apart, stay together and
that's using technology to help people connect.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and as with so many of our questions, right, is like, how many photos should you take? Well, like
I have 64,000
I have
in my library.
Yes, but none of them are of you or your kid.
Few of them are more of my kid than of me, but you didn't specify. You just said, how many should we take,
Right. Well, and then, and my point is, there's these questions and we're not going to tell you what the answer is, right? Like, there are parents who say, I didn't take enough.
Right.
So I think it is a valid question for you to answer for yourself, for your family.
As you're looking at that, because those parents evaluated, now we're done and we have 3 photos. I'm just pulling out a number, that's more me. And they're like, we didn't do enough. Why didn't we do this? How did we miss this? So as you're going along the way, you have to evaluate for yourself, how am I doing in this place as my kids are growing up, and when they leave, do I feel like I have enough that I can thumb back through at the times where I really want to remember some of these moments?
And then theoretically, someone at the other end of the spectrum is like, am I too worried about how many Instagram likes I'm getting on my photos of my family?
Right.
And I don't even remember, like, I don't even know what my kid's favorite ice cream is, but I know how many Instagram likes I have on these photos.
Right. Yeah.
That'd be like the other end.
I've seen so many videos that are like a moment where it would have been probably better for the parent to not have been videoing it behind the camera, because the child's view is just, you know, their
It's
parent's
terrible.
face covered by the camera. But that's where I think intentionality means so much, because like in my purpose, my goals, my intentions are to document the moment so that we have that and I can enjoy it later with my son. So because that's the goal, we have things set up, like me and my wife have a shared album, and the whole idea is that both of us aren't taking stuff, only one of us is. So one of us can be 100% engaged, and then I purposely sometimes even just take some photos that I can't even see.
Oh, just
but
to
I just
see.
do it, but
Like the camera in the
so
corner
that
of
he
the room.
doesn't think, oh, we're taking photos, we're doing whatever. But just to do that, as where if like my purpose was, I'm trying to look cool on whatever. Then I've seen some really terrible stuff where it's like, let's stage this, let's keep going, you know, and it's like so. So I think
how many photos or how many videos of children on the internet are staged?
Right.
Oh, the kid got into the flower and made a big mess. Yeah, did you direct him to do that and then took it anyway?
Exactly. So, so I think we've got a whole other podcast examining the other end of that. But I think there are a lot of good ideas in this episode, and it is something to think about because it is so much fun to go back and to look at those memories and kind of remember what happened. And I think it's fun as once you grow up, you know, like I mentioned, to go and see some of those. So if you enjoyed this episode, let us know in the comments what you've done, what your philosophy is with photos and video taking and all of that. And then make sure to check out our website, empoweringchoices.community, where we have courses and materials and all kinds of things that we'd love to share with you there. So make sure to check that out, and we will see you on the next episode.
I think you can upload photos on our website community, can't you, Josh?
I think so. So
So you can see how many likes you can get.
Go make an account and give it a try. We'll see ya.
Bye.